So let's move forward and thank you for everything you've done. Sarah, it's yours.
Thank you, Lori, and thank you, Finn, for reminding me to record. It is so nice to see you all here, and I really am happy to be able to see faces as opposed to live stream. It's just great. Thank you so much, everyone, for coming along with us for this month. It really was, it's very special to me to be a part of this. And the poetry that we hear from each other is just amazing too. And I appreciate people here who already got to hear Poetry Wednesday and are here again because we're all listening to each other. So our 30 Poems in November 2023 virtual reading begins now. We are starting off the evening with C.D. Finley, A.K. Finn, and her initials also stand for something else. And so when she gets published in a journal, CD, what, how do you come up then, Finn?
C. Desiree. I'm sorry about my names. I just apologize right now.
Yeah,
Just call me
why
Finn.
apologize? It's a beautiful
Sure.
thing. Okay, and so I just want to know that after Finn is going to be Michael Goldman, then Madeline Haber, then Michael McDonald. So Finn, you are on, and what I'm going to do is mute everyone, and then Finn, you can unmute yourself, okay?
Okay.
I think I can mute everyone. I usually can. Lori, are you on to that? Almost everyone's muted, so go ahead, Finn. We're ready for you.
Okay. This was November 28th. When I start over. When I start over, I will unfold like origami by a river or the sea, and crows, maybe falcons, will talk about me. I'll be born in Bruges or Crete. My name will be simple and it will mean cloud. I will take life and not hold it in a knife drawer. I'll be someone to count on, someone strong. And my pioneer self will have no ego. It will just be. I'll never be so afraid I cannot arise in the night. Birds will fly along with me and the sky will smile. I won't care if I'm pretty or smart, heavy or light. There will be purpose and time to make it done. There will be coming together and time to be one. I will love with a heart so large it cannot be. And I will only be and be and be.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Michael Goldman, followed by Madeline.
Thank you, Sarah.
You.
Good evening, everyone. Enough. I am through with silence. Let the howling wind play on my nerve cords as on dry leaves. Let the tapping rain punctuate my skin as on a placid lake. Let the surging waves of the ocean break inside my chest as on the stones and bones of the beach. I am through being lonely. I am through wasting my time protecting my body from the world. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What a reading. All right, Madeline. Madeline. Michael. Yeah, no, my fault. Go ahead.
Hi, I wrote this in the third week of November, and Sarah gave us many wonderful prompts, but this is another idea about prompts, and it's called Origin of Poems. Today's inspiration options: the sliver of sunlight finding its way through the trees, how waiting entangles itself through the body, another poet's rendition of losing his mother, stretching to soothe the child's suffering, wondering why a friend has failed you, watching a community grieve. Life provides the prompts for writing. Wake up to poems arising. Listen for their music, their whispering voice. Notice a moment's request for witnessing the stories that want to be told. Transfer them to the page, let them live, pass them on.
Thank you. I'm clapping in real loud time. All right. Michael McDonald. And I know I said someone different to come after Michael. Who was it?
Thank you.
Yes, Michael, you're on.
This has an epigraph from Ash Wednesday, T.S. Eliot. Teach us to care and not to care. Teach us to sit still, even among these rocks. It's called Heavy Lessons. My eyes visit boulders down below the dam. Will I sit above the churning foam formed by falling water, to contemplate these slowly diminishing, quickly disappearing days on earth, thinking how I might quiet this thinking, listen to the spirit amidst the roar of falling water. The boulders are old and heavy, many heavier than my embodied being. What can these stones tell me with their silence, their steadfast stillness? Practice stillness and silence? That's one answer I offer myself. The boulders remain as I come and go, as I appear and disappear. The cold old stones remain hard-headed witnesses to a constant inertia of simple being. Am I really akin to them? I sometimes feel I am. What about the sparrow that once perched here on my knee for an eternal half minute, as a witness to my becoming alive to quiet stillness? I remember the quickest swivel of its neck and its eyes looking up at mine as if to say, watch me fly away, I'm no earthbound boulder. What about the heron standing stark still in the rapids below, showing two of us how to fish for the food of life by waiting and watching in the right place, moment after timeless moment, for a ripple below the surface to break the silence, bring the being below above for nature's feast.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Paul Redstone, are you ready? Yeah, you're ready. And then it'll be Dorothy.
Unmute. There, unmuted. The oak. The oak is finally bare, kissed its leaves goodbye, and left enough acorns to feed me and the squirrels for at least 2 years, if I wanted them. Even the squirrel appears overwhelmed. So I can now see the naked tree, quite powerful, the Charles Atlas of our yard, takes no prisoners, but welcomes all critters. We commune at times. I wonder if sadness comes from leaf loss. Seemingly not. Us people have those problems. Empty nests, empty beds. So resistant are we to the flow. I recall the Phoebe at our house, flying with her feet in front, full speed into her nest, scattering the young ones. That's spot-on parenting. No mixed messages, no whimpering. All the progeny flew off to nearby branches and looked back at their childhood. Tough love at its finest. My oak perhaps is the same, getting ready for the next phase and comfortable with it. So is this to be an instructive poem, a how-to missive? Nah, I simply think that nature does some cool things and has it down, while I flounder, whimper, and whine, scrabbling about for an instruction booklet.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Okay, Dorothy, you are up, and this is Dorothy Rhyme, and then Lindsay Rockwell will be on.
Mhm. Okay, this is a poem for Thanksgiving Day. I woke up this morning to a miracle. My body, my heart beating away, breath going in and out. Thank you, thank you. I am alive today, once again, for the first time. Thank you for this happening world flowing all around me, for the sun rising every morning, for wind, rain, snow, stars, trees. Thank you for the billions of people with their whirl of words and war, suffering and love all mixed together, flowing fresh and vulnerable all day long. Myself inseparable. Thank you most of all for that tender, timeless energy that hides away under the noise and confusion and flows like a nourishing river, longing to heal, to hold us together.
Oh, thank you, Dorothy.
Okay.
Another thank you added to your poem. We're gonna have Lindsay Rockwell and then Elizabeth Rose.
Lindsay Rockwell, who's she? A doctor, I think, or something.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be here, and thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Lori, for all your chaperoning all of us. The groaning. After the pulling, her blank breath, we red-eyed, no grip, no hand to hold. After the pulling, a pall shrouded the beach. Wind barely sifted the summer heat. Shock, swallowing, pulling, as if a gigantic star dying, as if dying carved of an unknown element. We cannot name or hold its scent, shadow and remembrance. Remember how she lay there after the pulling, and you, after they took her away, you outlined the weight of her laying too long unmoving, your finger trembling, tracing. You almost lay down too, almost crawled inside her imprint. I watched you, you so lost, we so silent, soaked in our stunning. We and she and all our edges disappearing when the tide came.
Oh, thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, thank you. Wow. Okay, Elizabeth, you are on. Elizabeth Rose. Do you go by Elizabeth, or?
I do, yes.
And then Emily Samuels will be after Elizabeth.
So my poem is it's fitting that it's after Lindsay's because it was inspired by Lindsay's prompt, which was prompt number 12. Her poem was called The Color of Flight. Mine is called The Touch of Old. The touch of old. The touch of old is not a tablecloth gone rogue, or kite streaming pond into river. It is the backward spinning sun speeding around the corner of bold. The touch of beloved is not destitute dismantling or nothing doing dishes whistling in the kitchen. It's the joint of circled fingers embroidered on rings of Old Spice, tonic, and rye. The touch of jazz is not electrified bones bridged between best of show in smoking clubs. It is emboldened bass and tubas kissing status-seeking boys, wishing backstories would be forgotten. The touch of laughter is not tabletop pickleball, played for starlit stakes between planets. It is the shimmering pockets of bees sunning themselves between stanzas. Thank you.
Thank you. I just clapped and you couldn't hear me. Thank
I
you.
heard you.
Great. Okay. Next on deck, we have Emily Samuels, followed by Mary Ellen.
Okay, this is from November 18th. Aging, a web, delicate threads hiding in the dark corners of the shed, visible only in certain turns of the light. A surprise of no weight when you walk full on into the dangling gossamer and it sticks to your face, to your fingers as you try to brush it off. But there it is, catching its prey of memory, agility, sound sleep. Today, my father's 110th birthday, and I want every day to feel like a gift. Do at least one thing that says this day matters. Last week, I chanced upon a former colleague whom I knew to be my age, and with a bit of schadenfreude, I knew I looked a lot younger, but I count the days I would have should I live to be 90, and it sobers me. My children, young men, complain about what they can't do anymore, how they feel their age. Humor is the only comfort. I don't remember when I started keeping track of the downhill progression, the lurking slippery slope, but for the most part feel grateful for mobility, acuity, knock on wood, health. Believing that I can do most things keeps me doing them. Giving up skating, but getting on my bike. Practicing balance at every opportunity. Tree pose, a walk in the woods, the alternate nostril breathing of Nadi Shahana. Yesterday, a friend lost her sister, her buddy, confident advisor, role model. A sudden hole in the universe, another toll of the bell reverberating in my core. Who's next? To bear the unbearable prospect of loss has always a shadow of unstoppable certainty.
Wow, thank you. I feel funny clapping alone, so I'm just gonna. Mary Ellen, you are up, followed by Marla. Thank you. Mary Ellen, you're muted. You're still muted. There.
Finally, the last haircut. When you ask, will you cut my hair? I freeze. I want to say, please don't ask me to do this. Please don't. But you ask, and why wouldn't you? I have always cut your hair. When it was corn silk, an aura of gold around your baby face. Countless times as you grew, little boy, preppy cuts, then longer or shorter, depending on how you imagined yourself. Pale hair darkening each year, waves appearing, and at puberty, curls out of nowhere, thick golden brown curls. Now the elixirs that are saving your life are destroying that luxuriant mess. Curls remain on your pillow, drop on your shoulder as you sit reading. Already your scalp is visible, the hair gone fine as a baby's or an old man's. And you want me to remove what little is left. I want to refuse. I want to believe that this too will pass, that this is a phase, that curls will reappear next year. Even though I know in my heart that it may be no next year. I pick up the clippers, plug in the cord, listen to the impersonal buzz, and place my hand on your head. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. That got me almost crying. Oh, Marla Solomon, followed by Isabel.
Hello, everybody. It's nice to be here. The number 30 bus. Trust me, there is no kneeling in the red brick Westminster Presbyterian where I make my weekly pilgrimage at age 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Not sure I want to kneel. I love the singing. I want something. Every Sunday morning on the number 30 bus, alone with my thoughts on the near empty vessel, head not empty, full of thinking, dreaming, knowing, and unknowing, and the tall trees of Oakland Avenue streaming by the early Sunday morning bus riders. Light flashes through their branches and hits the face of the old woman sitting 2 rows up on the right. Serious laugh lines, resting, hand on the handles of a likewise crinkled shopping bag on the seat next to her. What is she thinking? What has she got in that bag and where is she going? Those are the things I want to know. And the night before my confirmation, my mother says to me with tears in her eyes, not everyone has faith. Faith is a gift. And I never forget that because that's when I know my mother has been wandering around lost for a long time, a lot longer than me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Perspective. Isabel Van Merlin, followed by Steve Watson. There you are.
I'm not sure which particular day this came from, but I think it's from the general purpose ideology of CNAM. My mother's people came over on the Mayflower, so she said, so she was told. A whole lot of people say their people came over on the Mayflower, but not many people could fit on that tiny ship, and so many died in that first winter. I think they must have reproduced like crazy or been making up stuff. What did they do when they got here? They brought church problems with them and continued promoting those problems. My immediate grandfather was a banker. He didn't make much money. My father's people came over a few years after the Mayflower, also to get away from a bad situation with the church. That's pretty well documented and not surprising. I think everybody has trouble with the church, no matter which one or who's preaching. A year or two with the church is usually enough for me. I really only want spirit, not a corporation. This immediate grandfather was a lumberman. He made and lost a good bit of money. I escaped a bad situation at home and emigrated to California singing California Dreamin' all the way. Found it was mostly work, not much life. Different bad situations, not all golden streets or trees with green dollar bill leaves. I write poems for CNAM and hope. I hope new Americans escape the bad things they needed to escape and can fulfill some of their dreams here. I hope I'm not dreaming. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Isabel. Thank you. So Steve Watson is next, followed by Sarah Goodman Gutera.
This is called Infinite Silence. When I was much younger, I had no idea that God was a notion created by those who desired him most, and that as merely an idea, it would be easy for him to abandon me when I needed him most. When my struggle left me on my knees in tears, pleading with him for help, I heard crickets. Crickets trying to be kind and healing, but their voices only conveyed that I was alone, God was not alive. Magic was not afoot. What a massive burden to bear at 10 years old. Exile is hard enough at that age, but abandonment by a power greater than myself is cruel beyond words and unforgivable. Even I, whose voice had not yet changed, who had yet to grow a single man's hair on my body, still drank milk and was learning to accept responsibility. Even I realized right from wrong. Why couldn't my God be so clever, so kind? Later, I discovered the words of Blaise Pascal, the 17th century French philosopher and mathematician, who said, "The eternal silence of the infinite spaces fills me with fear." I had felt that fear alone. I felt shame. Blaise, who had a cool name and shared my sense of occasional desperation, was my new hero. And God became a memory, a character in my poems.
Well, thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Steve.
Let's hear from
But-
Sarah,
Yeah.
followed by Anita Gallers. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you, Lori. And thanks everyone. This has just been such a great opportunity. First time I've done it. And I was in the process already of doing one haiku a day for about a little over a year. So I continued that in November. And I'm continuing it in December. But it was great to raise the money, and that's going to such a good cause. I live in Peaks Island, Maine. And these were haiku I wrote when I was not in Maine. I was in Boston and in Los Angeles. The first one is Lunch with Frederick. It's the English elm, and in the distance, bagpipes. Boston Gardens, home. Squirrel came right up in my face on the park bench. It smelled peanut sauce. And the second one is called Walking in Glassell Land. Smelling eucalyptus and rosemary, reaching up to crush peppercorn. Berries rot, dead leaves drag down the vine. Grass is dust. Mourning doves love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Just want to point out Sarah has an H, so she's cool. Anita and then Linda Castronovo, I believe you are here. You've been spotted. Hey, Christine. Okay, Anita, are you?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, beautiful. You're on.
Okay. Thanks everyone for being here, and thank you to Sarah and Lori for organizing this. And in particular, I really appreciate that there's still a Zoom option for these events, and that you also offered writing workshops both in person and on Zoom. On behalf of those of us who are not doing in-person things or avoiding in-person things or can't make it to in-person things, or all the reasons, thank you for offering this option. My poem is actually called Nothing to Say, but it has a tentative title that I think I'm unlikely to keep, but tentatively, it might also be called After October 7th and November 7th and December 7th. Nothing to say. I have nothing to say at this time. Not the solar gravity of grief, strong enough to circulate planets and hot enough to give life or take it. Not the glistening nebula of nausea, pulsating and quivering and blurring the universe. Not the fixed stars of fear that only appear to spin around me when it is I who am constantly on the move, on the lam. Not the vibrating spheres of conflicting compassions that don't conflict as long as they stay silent as outer space, where no one can hear me scream anyway. I have nothing to say at this time, so much nothing. I am busy listening, and you are not.
Wow. Thank you. An ending. Linda is actually not reading tonight, although she is here, and I don't think Susie or Zan Kusa is here. So Lee, I hope you are ready for action. Okay, read really slowly too. And then
Okay.
before that, is there anyone else who's supposed to read who I like missed? Because I'm going to read a poem because I get to read twice. But I'm going to wait for Lee, and I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anyone. Lee, you're on.
Okay, here we go. Thank you very much to Sarah and Lori, and just a joy to be back doing this again. I want to show you. I want to show you my collection of rocks, plucked from the surf at a Cape Cod beach or two, which I like to hold, roll in my palm, press my finger to the surface to see if there might be a fossil. One of them has the impression of a wing, or it could just be a feather. You might take it in your hand, trace your finger across the flat, dark gray surface. When I take it back, I will run my thumb over your impression. On the same spot, a small, prehistoric bird pressed its wing.
Oh, wow. Thank you. I can't wait to see the anthology from you all. Well, we are making amazing time. Unless you were hoping to be here for a couple hours, then we're not making good time because we're moving too quickly. I want to thank all of you again for being here, and Lori Millman for running the show, and Leslie and Newman for starting this all off. My poem I wrote in the first week, and the prompt that led to this resulted in me giving you a different prompt. So this is called The Ritual of Silence after Brian Doyle. We all churn inside. My friend asks me about prayer, which I say is not my thing, but there is kneeling anywhere. There is the dog unearthing galaxies, the boy wearing a colander as a hat. Now I ask my friend about prayer. She says there is inside and there is outside. I say ocean is like that. Both sound like the lost mitten next to the leaning snowman. We are quiet, and I hear space. Sometimes the leaves fall up. I've seen them reattach to their branches. I've seen my hair go gray overnight, even though that is not how the world works. Silence sometimes is too much to believe. I think we had a couple themes going on here tonight. This is, I'm really glad we all came together here, and I really love seeing all your faces. So we have just finished our reading. Thank you, Marla.
Thank you for the work you do.
You guys, everyone unmute and just talk
Yeah,
over.
thank you to all of you.
Yeah.
It's wonderful to see everybody.
There are snacks, snacks right
Yes,
outside in the
yay.
lounge. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
for
for
the
Thank
work.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Lori and
Marcos.
Sarah.
I loved all those poems.
Thank you all.
It's beautiful.
I look forward to seeing the anthology. So keep them coming. The poems are coming in. Thank you. Keep them coming.
Yeah, that's
And
a
we'll
good
have an anthology shortly after the new year.
Wonderful.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay,
Good
everyone
night.
to leave if you want.
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Happy New Year.
Now for the party. You guys are here still for the party, right? This is the post party we all talked about.
Yeah.
All right.
I made gluten-free cookies from a brownie mix. They're
Oh.
really good. I'm so glad to share them with you.
That sounds so great. Yeah, we'll get our party hats. Hey, Michael, nice reading there. Great projection. Oh, he left right when I was telling him.
Oh, yeah. This was wonderful. And for me to see the faces, Hi, Sue.
Wait, you know Sue?
I do.
You guys know
I
each
didn't
other.
know.
Hey, Isabel, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
We're in California.
Well, I'll be there next year for the 30th of November. I'll be in California.
All
But,
right.
yeah.
Isabel and I met at
Hello.
Life Center this summer. Or
Yeah.
the fall- in the
Mary,
fall.
did you want to say something? Were you, Mary Ellen? No? Oh,
Just waving goodbye. Happy New Year.
oh, Happy New Year and all that stuff. Thank you so
All that
much. That was a gorgeous poem, Mary Ellen. Yeah. I did kind of cry. I see Mary talking. Linda, thank you for coming, and I hope you're feeling better. You wrote a great poem, I can tell.
Thank you, Sarah, for all you do.
Yeah.
Much appreciated.
My pleasure. And you. And whose iPad? Is anyone sitting with an iPad acting like an iPad?
Got the. Do
Sue
you
and
have, is the recording off?
No, that's a good idea.